what's going on, everyone? Oh, I just realized I moved my camera. I'll move back in a second. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. It is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. Aaron Murray has still not had a baby. Therefore, he is still here on snaps. I myself am now 2 weeks away from having a baby. I'm a bit utterly terrified to be once again welcoming in a new human being onto this earth. For the third time, I will do my best to try to not screw it up, just like all of these college football teams are going to do their best to not screw it up over the next couple of weeks, as in many ways, Aaron, they look to give birth as well. Birth to a playoff, well, birth, right? That's what they call it, right? So who will do it? It'll be some of the discussion that we'll have today. I hope you are all having a wonderful day. If I seem a little panicky, I lost the camera right before, but we are back. Shout out to FanDuel Sportsbook app for having us on here. This is Snaps. If you sign up for FanDuel, use the promo code Snaps. But obviously, this is your new favorite daily college football podcast. And if you're listening, review your podcast, rate it and review it. If you're watching on YouTube, shout out to the Volume Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe, like the video. All this stuff helps grow it. I see a lot of our favorite people in here already. More and more could come in and join us every single day. What's up, Kirby? What's up, Dylan? What's up, Yep? It's me, y'all. Bilbo, Andy, Jay, is it Kirby? There we go. Caleb in here now. Matthew Holmes, Rick Rowland. Shout out to everybody hanging out. And Jared, Aaron, again. Anyway, thank you to you all. Please continue to spread the good word. I'm one of your hosts, T-Bob Hebert. Your other host is SEC legend, Aaron Murray. Aaron, what's up, brother? How we feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I don't appreciate Andy J in the chat, though, saying no way Georgia repeats. Aaron Murray jinxed them with the three-peat talk.
Yep.
No.
Yep. Too much. Way too much.
Georgia fans, I said it last year before they played Alabama. Don't be scared. You walk into the stadium, you put your chest up, your shoulders back. You walk in there like you're the big dogs that you are, and you go win the damn thing this year. You go win the damn thing next year. You're the best team in America. None of this jinx crap. It's confidence, T-Bob. I ain't jinxing anyone. I'm putting it in the damn universe. They're the best team in America. Say it with your chest.
That's all well and good. And you know what? To your point, maybe the best team actually wins in college football more often than not, which you cannot say about most sports. So maybe they don't because we don't actually play a payoff. So how can we possibly know? But you are getting a little fat and cocky, Aaron. It took y'all 40 years in between the last one, and now you're just calling for three-peats? Like, man, come on. Once you lose to Quavius, who knows what's going to happen? You're going to have some sexy five-star that you are thinking, oh, this is going to be the guy, and then Kirby's going to ruin him with some boring-ass offense. He's going to leave and go to Ohio State and throw 50 touchdowns. Wait, that already happened, didn't it? Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
But didn't win a natty, though. Did not win a natty.
Did not win a natty. This is true. Well, and it's funny that you start here, Aaron. Do you think jinxes are real? No. Okay, to be painfully clear, I loathe jinx people. Me and my wife make fun of them all the time. Like somebody who wants to like change his shirt at halftime, and then you hear him after the game drink with their buddies. Like, bro, I mean, remember that? I mean, like, remember when I changed that shirt, dude? I felt like the game. I mean, I don't know. I feel like things got to change after that. Or I've got like a bunch of Alabama friends who do this incredibly douchey thing that they call turning the tide. And it's where they get all together and they film themselves doing a shotgun together. And not only are they all terrible at shotgunning, their little baby throats, like it takes them at least 10 seconds, but they have actually convinced themselves, they've truly convinced themselves that they have been responsible for some of the Alabama comebacks through the years. Although for whatever reason, I don't know why this would be the case, turning the tide has not worked in Alabama's 2 losses this year, Aaron. It's very funny. I don't know. It's almost like they were never responsible for anything in the first place.
Alabama and douchey just roll off the tongue so well for you, T-Bob, when you say it. I don't know if it's the LSU hate, the emphasis on either one of the words. I don't know, but it does sound good coming from you. I don't believe in jinxes, but I do believe in, like, I believe in certain things that I would do before the game. I'm drawing a blank of the word right now, but like I would always have a rhythm and cadence to my day before a game. Like if I didn't do
It's
this,
called the routine.
I would
That's
kind of be
fine.
thrown off. Yeah, routine. Yeah, I had a routine, but there was never like I jinxed us because I did this. Like I remember, when was it? This was the SEC championship game. This is back in 2012, and one of my left guard, Dallas Lee, his parents also had another son named Dylan Lee. Dylan
was your left guard.
Dallas Lee was my left guard.
Buck Dillon and Dallas Lee. They went to Buford and F Buford for life. That's how I feel. Oh,
right,
my
anyways, back to the story,
dude.
T-Bob. So Dylan went to Alabama. He was
even
a
though
linebacker.
Dylan Lee and Bentley are maybe the most beautiful couple in the entire world. If you've ever seen Dylan and his wife, who's one of my best friend's little sisters. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yes, thank you.
Screw the Lees, screw Buford.
Shut up, T-Bob. All right, here we go. Back to the story of jinxing. All right, so they're parents of two kids in that game, opposite teams. Lisa and Rob were on our sidelines. These are the parents. We're on the Georgia sideline. Beginning of fourth quarter, they look at us and say, "Hey, game's over. Georgia's going to win." To my parents, we're going to go say hi to some friends over there in the Alabama sideline. They leave, go the other sideline. We end up losing the football game. My dad claims that Lisa and Rob jinxed us from winning the national championship a little bit too premature with the celebration. So
they love Dylan more than Dallas, is all that story told me.
They purposely were trying to say.
Dylan.
Yes.
Wow, unbelievable, dude.
The Lees cost us the natty.
Did I just tell you not to trust him, Aaron? See, if only you had known me years ago, I could have helped head all of this off, and you would have had a national championship, and maybe in some alternate universe, I too would have a second national championship. But alas, 'twas not meant to be. Derek Walker says, biggest threat to Georgia is ourselves. God, I can already feel y'all becoming the douchebags that Alabama currently is. But that said, Aaron,
your Georgia friends will soon be downing the dogs as they shotgun beers before we know it.
I don't know if it's downing the dogs, but I feel you, bro. Like there is something there.
It was my first attempt.
There. I know. Maybe it's like I don't know.
I don't know. I think the Georgia people are a different breed of people than say the people there in Alabama or the people there in Louisiana as well. So.
Well, that's the funny thing.
We're a classy group of fans.
Yes.
Where
Aaron, you are hitting on one of my favorite parts of being an SEC football fan is the complete lack of self-awareness that every single fan base has, as we call out every other fan base for being like entitled, or they're douchebags, or they're jerks, or they're dumb, or they're like, they're classless, and then but not me and my people.
So give me what from an outsider's perspective, please tell me what's the knock on Georgia fans right now, before we go on this incredible run and then you want to call us douchey for being winners. What is the big knock from the outside world about what Georgia fans are?
Y'all are adult humans that sit there and actually bark at other adult humans. And even beyond that, for years, you've been yelling about how good Georgia is without winning a championship. That's why y'all winning a championship is maybe even extra dangerous, because y'all had a sense of entitlement that you never even earned. Like, you always thought you were great, but y'all had never actually proven it. So now that you actually are, you're going to be more insufferable than ever. But look, again, that's my favorite part about the SEC, is because this is all pot calling the kettle black. Okay. I fully understand that LSU is just as aggressive and douchey and annoying. But again, these are my people, so I don't believe it. And y'all are wrong, and I am right. And that is how the world works. Should humans bark at other humans? That's a very good. It's a very good question, Aaron. Aaron, when was the last adult human that you barked at?
Oh, like once a week I bark at someone. I always wonder, like, what's an appropriate response? Like, everyone goes around yelling like "Roll Tide" at each other, like "Roll Tide, Roll Tide, Roll Tide," and then you walk around Atlanta or Athens, someone says like "Go Dogs, Go Dogs." And, I still get recognized when I'm out in public. So someone like, "Hey, Aaron, go Dogs." So I always ask my wife, like, what would someone do if I like looked at them superly aggressive, like in Target, and just start barking at them? Like, would they appreciate that? Would they be freaked out? Would they like grab their kid and like kind of pull them closer? I usually just say go Dogs back.
Yeah, obviously that's what you should do as a normal adult, but it is infinitely funnier if you just start barking. If you just start barking at people. Yes, dude. But like really get into it. Yeah, don't go self-conscious. Do it like you're an actor in a scene.
Just randomly bark at the next person who says "Go Dogs" at me. And see what happens.
My God, dude. That is fantastic. You know what? I'm going to vote yes on this poll. Should humans bark at other humans? Because honestly, this kind of dumb stuff is what makes college football so much fun. It is one of the wonderful quirks of sport. While we love this so much. And in fact, I'm honestly a little jealous that I don't have like a tiger call that I could do to someone like a
T-Bob. I want to ask you, just sticking on the love for the fans, the excitement of the games. There's a significantly big difference in money when it comes to the NFL and college and TV rights. And yeah, I know the TV deals for college is some of these deals are incredible, from the new deal with the SEC and ESPN to the new deal with the Big 12 and the Big 10, all that stuff. Is the NFL really that much better in your opinion when it comes to just the complete entertainment of an entire day, from the tailgating, the experience of tailgating, to if you're sitting at home watching it? I just feel like the product at the college product is just a little bit undervalued when it comes to some of these the TV money and the difference between the NFL and college.
Okay, if we're talking about why the value is as high as it is, I think like that's like better is a question of taste, right? And to me,
Yes.
we're obviously incredibly biased in this regard. First off, we grew up in the South, which regionally the South arguably likes college football more than the NFL, except for maybe some pockets. Arguably, again, I don't think that's like a 100% rule, but the rest of the country tends to like NFL better. Also, we both played college football, which I think probably infects our opinion. Obviously, now you played in the NFL as well, Aaron, so you have seen both sides of it. To me, it's just a numbers game, though, right? There are 32 NFL teams versus 130-something college teams. And that exclusivity, I think it makes it easier for people to get into. If I just flip on if I just flip on the TV on Sunday and I see thinking a random matchup, Commanders Ravens, right? I still will have narrative touchstones like, oh, I know who Lamar Jackson is. I know the Commanders are a complete joke organizationally, even though nice win by Heineke last night. Whereas if you flip on like even like a good team, like a Coastal Carolina versus Liberty, or you can even go bigger than that, right? Like most people wouldn't know a name in like Iowa State versus Colorado. And so I think as just a boots on the ground, average American human being, it's much easier to keep up with something like the NFL. And then obviously because of ownership and it's got way more money in it on a per team basis as well.
Well, I get why it's more, but I just think that there's a really big gap. And I don't think, to me, the NFL and the product is, yes, it's better, and everything that you just said makes 100% sense to me. But I just think the gap is bigger than what it should be. Like I still think for how much money college football is going to be getting with these new deals, I still think it's undervalued when you do compare it to what the NFL is getting with those deals. Like, it's not the NFL. This is below that. Yes, we constantly turn on ESPN, and what are they talking about most of the time? They're talking about the NFL. They're talking about professional sports. That's just the way it is. And that's still, to me, there is an opportunity for an ESPN or a CBS Sports or even us on our podcast to continue to grow, for people to hear and learn more about college football. And if they do watch Saturdays and they do put on a random game on any given Saturday, that the storylines are just as juicy. The excitement on the field is just as good. And I think the entertainment value, honestly, is better because it's not perfect. Like the script of an NFL game is usually so perfect. Like, I go back to LSU versus Florida State game. It was so ugly and shitty. It was amazing. And how many times do we get that every single Saturday where the games are just like, man, this is so bad. It's so much fun to watch. And like, so you know what you're going to get for every NFL game. You know what you're going to get.
NFL is, I mean, it's higher quality football, like you said. NFL, I've always said it too, has that almost Mario Kart rubber band effect where, like, if you're an 8th in Mario Kart, you're going to get a star, you're going to get a lightning, you're going to get a bullet bill. If you're in 1st or 2nd, you're getting a single banana, a single green shells, or 3 bananas and 3 green shells, right? Like, the NFL's ability to finish close is unparalleled, which is also one of the reasons why it's exciting to gamble on. But at the end of the day, if we're just talking money, it ultimately is just a ratings thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, the highest rated college game of the year this year, I think that Georgia-Tennessee passed up Alabama-Tennessee. Georgia-Tennessee had 13 million people watch that game average. And then I think you compare that to the NFL. I mean, I think they're basically at that or beating that weekly. And that's
Cowboys Packers probably did 28 million.
Yes. So, I mean, that's like,
that's some big brands right there, though.
This is a little surprising, though. Last week's highest rated game was actually LSU Arkansas. Not a lot, 3.57 million. Georgia Mississippi State right behind at 3.3. Go Tigers. Obviously LSU much bigger brand than Georgia.
You have to also think like the amount of games that are on TV every week. So like me, if I don't buy the NFL package, I get 2 games. I get 2 games at 1.
Fair.
And 2 games at 4. So like I have to watch one or the other. Most people in the country have that package. We're like at a 12 o'clock slate right now with a basic TV package that I have through Hulu. I can watch ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, CBS, Fox, NBC. Like there's probably 7-8 games that you could watch at any given time. So like if you're someone that just wants to watch football, you have more options at every single slot during a Saturday. For Sunday, it's 1 of 2. If I want to watch football, I get 1 of 2 options usually. So yes, the number should be higher per game for that reason.
So I would still be interested.
Like combine all the number. I would put what's the
that's what I want to see. If you combine the numbers, I still think that the NFL would be significantly higher, but I don't know. Look, in terms of just like what I enjoy, again, because it's a fun little freewheeling conversation here. I enjoy college football more because, like you said, Aaron, I do enjoy the more wild, rougher nature of it. Like you would never see the fumble, scoop, and score that happened in TCU, Texas to make that game somewhat exciting at the end in the NFL. That's just an era that just doesn't happen. You mentioned something like LSU, Florida State. And then the other thing I love the almost medieval sort of well, I love all the quirks, right? I love the bands.
Yep.
I love all the chants. I love all the songs. Like a great college game day.
The stadiums, I think the stadiums are better.
Yes, stadiums are awesome. Well, it's because, look, in college stadiums, they're still packing you in on like these little benches and telling you to sit 6 inches next to the other person. Whereas, like, if you're trying to get people in an NFL game, a lot of times nowadays, you need to have quality, right? They need a little more room. They need better seats. You got to have great Wi-Fi, which, college stadiums are also trying to do as well. But certainly, yes, like you don't get 100,000, you don't get Neyland in the NFL, or you don't get like when LSU was finally packed against Alabama and was over 100,000. You don't get that in the NFL, certainly. So, no, I mean, look, that's what I love is that to me, a great college football game day feels like a medieval tournament day. Right. There's all kind of exciting and exotic smells and sounds in the air, and everybody's wearing their kind of tribalism colors. Right. And there's this other group of people who come from out of town, sometimes from way out of town. And all of a sudden they show up on the horizon and they're wearing different colors and they're singing different songs. And all of this electricity builds up throughout the day as you're shopping wares and drinking delicious drinks and tasting delicious foods, and everybody's catcalling and yelling, just a cacophony of brilliance. And then at the end of the day, it ends in the tilt, the joust, where there can be only one winner, the simulated combat where honor and glory is to be had if you can take it from your opponent. That is why I love college football. And at least here in the South, I think a lot of those same feelings ring true in maybe the North when it comes to the NFL. But in the South, it does feel like sometimes the NFL is a bit less passionate. Now, some teams like the Saints are kind of exception to this, but like, a lot of times if the local NFL
Falcons,
team
I'll tell you this,
down here,
the Falcons are significantly lower on the totem pole than Georgia football. Like that was surprising to me. Like you get to Georgia and it's the Dogs, it's the Braves, it is maybe United, and then the Falcons together with the Hawks. Like those three are kind of almost same level to me. I know the Falcons obviously hasn't had a ton of success. That's a problem, but like it is a significant gap, in my opinion, from where fans in this state view Georgia football compared to where they view the Falcons.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, if the Falcons lose, a lot of people are just going to be like, it sucks, and go on about their day. If Georgia loses, their entire week is ruined, and they're pissed. Yep. And, like, I mean, they have literally proven, Aaron, I can't remember, Ryan, Brum, have you ever seen this study where I believe it was in Louisiana, they looked at the sentencing of, like, convicts or something following an LSU loss versus a win, and judges sentence harder after the local team loses.
I have heard that study. Win. Not a great reflection on our home state.
Not a great reflection of the world in which we live, but a great reflection of the passion that we are talking about right now. Like Dylan Meadows gives us an awesome $50 super chat. Shout out Dylan.
Big shout out Dylan.
We love you, Dylan. Says go Tigers, and then he says in the chat, it's better for us in the South because it's a religion and it's not as much business and cutthroat like the NFL. Still a business, but feels a bit more like a community business, emotional investments only. So I agree. I mean, I think we're all kind of on the same page here. And if you're listening to snaps, like, chances are you pretty much feel the same. Now, all that said,
one quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
If you're listening to us right now, take 2 seconds, smash the thumbs up button. Boom.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. How about this? I grew up. I used to go to every Hawks game. We had season tickets. I've probably gone to like 200 or 300 Hawks games, dude. I used to love the Hawks, dude. Mookie Blaylock, Steve Smith, Dikembe Mutombo back in the day, Lenny Wilkins as the head coach. Let's go, dude. All right, let's start the show. Well. We just talked about your UGA Bulldogs and the impending dominance that does feel a bit inevitable at this point. And thus we start right there, Aaron Murray. When you look at the field, right, if it's Georgia versus the field, who in the field, and this doesn't even have to be a team that you would think would maybe be even most likely to meet up or make the playoff, but who in the field gives Georgia their biggest challenge?
It's one of two teams for me. It's Tennessee. I think beating a team twice. Yeah, I still think it's Tennessee. I think beating a team twice, especially then having to go on a neutral field, is always challenging. And I still think Tennessee is a very good team. I think Tennessee, as we've alluded to, is in the driver's seat right now, most likely going to get into the playoffs at that number 4 spot. I feel pretty good about that right now, as they should as well. And then Ohio State. Ohio State is still an elite offense that's playing without their best receiver. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been out for 90% of the season. You throw him back into the equation at some point with CJ Stroud and with some of the other weapons that have emerged. I like them. The one thing that concerns me about Ohio State is the fact that we've seen them struggle at times running the football. I thought they did a better job last week, kind of getting downhill, getting behind the offensive line and just going forward, less misdirection. So if they can improve that area, and if they can show me that they can run the football against Michigan, then they shoot up to my number 1. But the difference between Ohio State and Tennessee is Tennessee, at least on the offense side of the football, has shown us that they can be multiple. They can run the football. They can throw the football. They can go up tempo. They can do all the things that could give Georgia a difficult time on a neutral site. Because all these Dog fans and everyone watching, like, oh, look, they just, they didn't do crap against Georgia 2 weeks ago. I get it. It was a bad game. Georgia played great. And if we had a rematch, I'm not saying that Georgia's defense would not dominate once again. I'm just saying that if there's a team, in my opinion, that could maybe give that defense some struggle, it would be a rematch versus the Volunteers or Ohio State too, if they get their own game going.
Yeah, I mean,
no one else.
That's kind of one of the reasons why it took so long in getting this, not just because I was enjoying our last combo, because I don't know that I find the biggest challenge to Georgia would be terribly interesting, because there doesn't seem to be a great challenger, especially because both times we have seen Georgia actually focus in, it has left a lot to be desired for the other side, right? I mean, you mentioned Ohio State. Obviously, that is the answer. And look, we got our guy Lance in the chat who says, "Go Blue, keep sleeping, Georgia." We need some good. And by the way, as we, to go back to what we were just talking about, I do want to say that I view the Big Ten country as the same way that I view the SEC. I know we drew a lot of north and south lines in the sand. That's not really the case, right? It's just kind of pockets that love college football. And Big Ten fan bases, Big Ten geography, they love college football the same way that the SEC loves college football. So shout out to Lance. Shout out to, I think we got an Ohio State fan in here as well that I'm missing. Anyway, but the problem is, as much as I like Lance in Michigan, like Michigan may beat Ohio State, but there's still, I don't think, a great matchup for Georgia. We've talked about it on the show before. They want to do a lot of the same things Georgia wants to do, only potentially, at least in our eyes, we don't think. That's why it'd be great if we had a playoff where we could, actually play out all these games. But in our eyes, they are Georgia just with less talent. And so that's going to be very hard for Michigan to overcome. TCU, well, you know how I feel about my Horned Frogs. I don't think they have the talent level to keep up with Kirby and Georgia right now. And we've already seen what happens with Tennessee. LSU feels much more fallible. Yeah, we saw what happened to Oregon. And look, La Petite Trojan boys, as much as I love them, Georgia's offense would take them and chew them. It'd be like 3, 5, 4, 5. And they would just gnash their bones into dust, essentially. LSU, no, not after last week, especially. I thought that after watching the film yesterday, Arkansas, or now Barry Odom had a great game plan, but LSU still got to prove to be able to overcome some looks. Like they were just basically dropping 8, but using those 2 middle linebackers kind of in like a zone coverage, but they were also spying. Like, and Jaden Daniels wasn't confident was he seen, and he wasn't confident enough to take the shots. Like Kirby Smart and company could put together a defensive game plan, I think, that could shut down LSU, unfortunately, right now. And you
have to be elite. You have to be elite. You have to be elite on offense. You have to be multiple on offense. And then the issue is you have to be also really good on the defense side of the football. I just don't see either team. Like Georgia's the most complete team in America. They're one of the best offense or defenses in America. And right now they're one of the best offenses in America. And some teams have won. Like Ohio State has a great offense. Could they score against Georgia? Could they score in the mid-30s, the high 30s? I don't think so. I think Georgia can keep any offense right now in America to probably in the high 20s. And then Ohio State's defense, while they have been improved this year, I really don't know how good they are. And you can say the same thing with Michigan. Like that's the funny thing. Like you look at the Big Ten right now, and at the moment, I want to pull this stat up. I heard it earlier today from someone. I just want to confirm right now. But Michigan's the number 1 scoring defense in America. Illinois is number 3. Minnesota's 4. Iowa's 5. Ohio State's 7. And then Iowa State is 9. Is that because the defenses in the Big Ten are good, or is it because all the offenses in the Big Ten are garbage?
No, that's a reflection of conference identity for sure, right there. Yes. That is conference identity.
It just
and culture.
It's Ohio State really is the offense, and Michigan can run the football, but I still don't think Michigan. If Georgia lines up and shuts down Michigan's run game like they did last year in the bowl game, JJ still has not shown me enough this season that if you put the ball in his hands and say, hey, kid, go throw the ball 35, 40 times, that they're going to be able to win the football game against Georgia and those DBs. So they are way too one-dimensional for me to feel like they could get even in the 20s versus Georgia. And then they've yet to face a good offense.
I think that is correct. But somebody accused me of calling Michigan a poor man's UJ. No, not a poor man's UJ. I would call Michigan like a Kirkland brand UGA. Okay. Kirkland brand is great. Like I love Kirkland brand. They got excellent prices. And it's just kind of maybe a step below whatever the kind of brand name is.
Poor man's Georgia.
No.
Yes.
A wise man's Georgia. Okay. Kirkland brand, Costco. We talked about it yesterday. That kid with the Costco card, years beyond where he should be. Okay. There is nothing wrong with being a bit off brand. Okay. We're just out here trying to save a little money. Okay. That's not being poor. It's just called being fiscally responsible, Aaron Murray. Mm-hmm. That said, Michigan's still a very good football team. And I think Michigan should still beat Ohio State. or could beat Ohio State. The only thing that upsets me is that Michigan didn't challenge themselves in the out-of-conference. And if you're a Michigan fan, you should probably be upset as well because it actually might screw you. When you kind of start to play scenarios out there, if you are a one-loss Michigan with your only loss to Ohio State, you'll be up against maybe like a one-loss Tennessee. You could be up against a one-loss Clemson. That's an ACC champion, a lot of these other schools. And what's going to hurt them is no out-of-conference Power 5 win. And the worst part is, Aaron, they had a series with UCLA on the books that they canceled and replaced with Hawaii. So, like,
Hawaii.
Unfortunately, if that does end up screwing over Michigan, it is a classic you reap what you sow sort of deal. For whatever reason, you don't want to challenge
What happened
yourself.
in this situation? If the
I don't
committee's
know.
in the room.
Wait, sorry, go ahead.
Let me play the situation out for you first before you say you don't know.
No, I thought you were asking me what happened with Michigan and UCLA canceling.
Oh no!
No, my bad.
Oh no! Let me. This is a legitimate scenario, and I think this conversation is going to be had in the committee room in 2 weeks. If Ohio State beats Michigan, and you have a one-loss Michigan, you have a one-loss Tennessee. Like, yes, the strength of schedule is in favor of Tennessee, but then there's going to be a lot of fans that say, okay, Michigan is the better football team though. And I think that is going to be a legitimate conversation in that room of like, who actually is the better football team. And this may be me being SEC biased. You can say that. I don't know. I think if you put those two teams on a field right now, you put Tennessee versus Michigan on a neutral site, I would take Tennessee to win that football game.
Oh boy, I'd have to really think about it. I think it would be very close. I don't know enough about Michigan's secondary.
If it's
honestly.
close enough though, would you not lean to the team that has the better strength of schedule, which would be Tennessee? I mean, Michigan's going to have one ranked win.
Well,
this season.
okay, no. Okay,
win.
I think if I am talking about trying to say who do I think would win that game, my main path to be there would be diving into Michigan film and seeing how I actually feel about that secondary. They have a very good defensive line. Could they consistently get pressure on Hendon Hooker and make that hard on him? Kind of the same way that Georgia did. I mean, that was the big difference. Tennessee's tackles like hadn't given up like any sacks like almost all year, and then Georgia was living inside of Hendon Hooker. If Michigan could do the same thing, obviously I think they'd have a great chance. To me, though, Aaron, the committee wants to avoid at least the perception of subjectivity, right? Like anytime they can have an objective metric to lean on, they will lean on it. And that is why something like strength of schedule is so attractive to them. Yep. Because, Michigan fans would be upset and say, no, we think we're the better team. And they can be like, well, we can't know that.
You didn't prove it. We don't know.
We don't play the game. And unfortunately, they have quality wins that you do not. And that's just kind of the way it goes. So it's all of this talk is just a sign that we need the 12-team playoff immediately. As soon
Well, once again, I said it last
possible.
week. I think a 12-team playoff would be entertaining. I think it'd be fun. I think 2 through 12 would be, who knows who would win any given game. But there's still no doubt in my mind that at the end of it, Georgia would come out victorious.
Well, that's
right
fair,
now.
but
Like,
again,
It'd
but
just be
we
more
never
fun.
know. We never know.
No, I think we do know.
And you never know. No, you don't know.
No, we do
That's
know.
the thing.
We do
You
know.
just don't
We
know.
do know.
What if like Stetson goes
There's not
down
a
or
team
something,
right now.
right?
There's not a team right now that when
What
they
if
want to
Stetson
turn
gets
it
hurt?
on.
You don't know what if
Okay.
Stetson gets. I'm knocking on wood here. I'm not putting it out there.
Don't you
All I'm
put that in-
showing.
I still feel
I'm just
confident
saying.
that they have more depth than anyone else right now because I feel confident if Stetson did get hurt, Carson go out there and do his thing. And then
Wow.
and then
So you're
this
still
defense,
a Stequavius.
this
so
football
you're
team is
still a
built on
Stequavius
defense.
hater. After all these years,
I'm
you're
not
still
a Stequavius hater.
You're
I'm
saying
not.
he's incidental to the success. He can go down and it would not cost you against not even the second best team in the country. That is what you just said. You just said that Stequavius means nothing to this team.
No, I said that the depth that has been built by Kirby and the fact that Carson has stayed gives me confidence. Carson knows the system, could jump right in there and have success. And then the way this team is built with defense, they're going to give themselves a chance to always win games because they're never going to be out of it. That's why I have confidence in Georgia.
All I know is, and I get that generally in college football, the team at the top doesn't do this, but every week we have a couple results that shock us, like truly shock us. Maybe it was Arizona UCLA was the most recent one. And then look at all these national champions for the past like 10 or 15 years, Aaron. I know there's some undefeated teams mixed in there, but most have one loss. So most best teams in the country got caught on one day. Now, great teams tend to have a way of not making that one day when it matters most, but it can happen. And ultimately, that's why it all needs to be resolved in the field. Like, I feel you. Would I bet on Georgia to win a 12-team playoff? Yes. Would I still much rather see them have to run that gauntlet? Abso-freaking
100%. 100%. I'm with you.
All right. So we're in agreement then that Ohio State's probably the biggest challenge to Georgia back.
I think Tennessee.
Hey, look. You think Tennessee? My bad. I do think Ohio State. I still think that there is a I think Ryan Day's record is incredible. I think Ohio State is more talented than Tennessee. Like, they're probably the only other team that's on par with Georgia from a pure recruiting NFL talent standpoint. And that, the defense isn't great, but I could see a world where C.J. Stroud and Ohio State come out with a great game plan and it can maybe put up points. Like, they're probably the only team that I could see, and I don't think this would be likely, but they're the only team that I could see like breaking 30 potentially on Georgia. So I'll still go.
Let's not forget Tennessee.
Ohio State.
Hendon missed 2 bombs that would have resulted in touchdowns if he's been accurate. We say about Hendon every single year. Every single week.
So Georgia sucks.
One was accurate. No response.
I mean, if Jalen Hyatt could do it, Marvin Harrison Jr. could do it. Did you see Marvin Harrison?
Marvin
Jr.
Harrison is a beast
last week.
Oh, I know.
It was insane.
I know. He's a freak.
Where he kept his leg up in the air and did the split.
There's a couple players this year. I'm just like, when are they going to come back? Jackson Smith and Jigba for Ohio State, AD Mitchell for Georgia. I think both teams kind of like look at their schedule right now and say, why rush it? Let these guys be 100%, and then we'll put them out there when we need them. Like, I guarantee you, Jackson Smith and Jigba will be out there versus Michigan. And AD Mitchell probably won't play until LSU.
Why rush it is a funny concept when we're in week 12 of the season. I think we're up to now. Yeah, why rush it? It's not like we only play like 15 weeks.
But that's why there's so like their schedule, especially the Big Ten. Like, it's an interesting conversation that maybe we can have tomorrow. Is like the Big Ten this year. It's like Iowa may be in the Big Ten championship game. Like, once Illinois loses to Michigan this weekend, Iowa has a clear path. Yeah, they have to win the next 2 games, which they probably could, and you have Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. Like, that is how bad that conference is once you get past Ohio State and Michigan.
Well, that's more of a factor of the way the divisions are cut in half, because the 3 best teams in the Big Ten this year are all in the East.
Yeah, but so you have 3 good teams. You have 3 good teams. You have 3 good teams. That's it.
Oh man, where was it, dude? I had
I mean, those 3 good teams might be 3 of the 12 best teams in the country.
What was the score between Penn State? What was the score between Penn State and Michigan and Ohio State?
Yes, they got worked. And Penn State does not have a lot of quality wins. But Penn State is pretty inarguably those 3 teams are 3 of the top 15 to 20 teams in the country.
I mean, to that point, right? I think that, when viewed through that metric, Aaron, I mean, how much better is the SEC? UGA is an elite team. I think you could put Tennessee there, even though that's kind of a flash in the pan type of deal. Alabama, but also Alabama is not kind of elite this year. Like Lance in the chat says Michigan, or no, he said Penn State greater than LSU. I think that'd be a really close game. Like, I think Penn State LSU would be a really good game. So I don't know. I think
LSU's a better team. I think LSU's a better team than them.
I think if you put the whole conference up against one another, I do think the mid-level of the SEC may be a bit better mid-level of the Big Ten, but I don't know that I think it's a drastic difference.
Who would win a game right now between Alabama and Michigan?
I mean, dude, Alabama got their ass kicked on the line by LSU. Like, Michigan would control the line of scrimmage. I'm not willing to sit here and say that Alabama would just outright win that. I can't say.
I think Alabama would be slightly favored on a neutral field.
You know what's
yes, they would be favored for sure.
But consider the historic, benefit of the doubt that Alabama has. even then,
Yeah.
I think that Michigan.
I would be really
Michigan's
excited
only
for
6.5 point dogs on the road against Ohio State. So like, I think they are very similar in terms of like strength of team through 10 weeks.
I would love to see Alabama versus, say, Clemson or Michigan if those two teams don't make it, because obviously we know Alabama's not, but if Michigan and Clemson don't make the playoffs, would love to see Alabama versus one of those teams in a bowl game. But the only issue is, I guarantee you, like, why would Bryce play in a bowl game? Why would Will Anderson play in a bowl game?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get a complete, like, so Michigan's probably going to win the game without two of the best players in the country playing for Alabama. Like, what's the point at that point for those two guys playing?
But
that's the problem.
Right there, and another reason for an expanded playoff, right? Like, even if a lot of the games are going to be shit,
no one
is
arguing with you about expanded playoff.
Oh, no. I know. And I'm not saying, no, I agree. But I'm just saying it's funny because we used to debate it, and now it feels like these truths are becoming self-evident. Like in the age when people are bailing on bowl games, rightfully so, for their NFL careers, if you dangle the carrot of a championship in front of them, even if you're like the 12 seed, you technically can win a championship, maybe. Like, you probably end up playing in that game. I got it, because I wanted to get to this yesterday, and we did it. But in terms of Iowa, because you're right. Okay, Iowa will control their own destiny when Illinois loses this weekend. Iowa just beat Wisconsin, winning 24-10, gaining 146 total yards. The Hawkeyes had 2.1 yards per play. Spencer Petras passed for 94 yards, Aaron, and had negative 41 rushing yards, meaning the quarterback of the winning team that won 24-10 accounted for 53 total yards. They punted 9 times, and that probably are your Big Ten West champions. Yeah,
that line is going to be in the high 20s, maybe 30s, if Iowa faces Ohio State or Michigan in the Big Ten championship game.
It's just a beautiful thing.
Well, there's another reason why too we need to get rid of divisions. You need to get rid of divisions. Like,
I think so.
The fact that Michigan doesn't get a chance or Ohio State doesn't get the chance to play for the Big Ten championship game, depending on that game and that outcome, is absurd. And Iowa has a chance to get in there.
Brum, I'm sorry, Aaron. I agree.
Yeah.
Brum, I am making an executive decision here, and I think we're probably just going to have to ignore the rundown because Crankmaster Mason in the chat brings up another.
We can do whatever you want. We got 10 minutes left. This show has been nonsense. We can do whatever you want.
I just looked at the show, the time, so I was like, man, all right, Brum.
You guys got a free period today.
Look, man, time flies when you're having fun, okay? And we're having a great time here hanging out with all of y'all. We love y'all so much. But Brum, you're going to like this because you're the one that brought this up yesterday, and me and Aaron were like very prickly about it, but I've come around. Crankmaster Mason says Notre Dame took Clemson out of the playoffs. Well, Crankmaster, I too am a Crankmaster, by the way, once or twice a day. Pretty much my entire life. Yeah. I don't know. Not so fast, Mr. Mason. I'm not entirely sure that Clemson is out of the playoff. In fact, the more you think about it, they kind of have a shockingly clear path to the playoff, Aaron Murray. And the reason is, again, USC is the only hope for the Pac-12. We all know about how hard their last 3 games are. We talked about this, right? Let's just assume that USC loses. Although I don't think this will happen, or I think there's a good chance it won't happen. Let's say that TCU loses, okay? So Big 12 out. Yep. Well, maybe not. We'll come back to TCU. But let's say you have a one-loss TCU Big 12 champion. Well, if you have a one-loss ACC champion Clemson, who does have a little bit of benefit of the doubt from the brand, who would have a really nice ACC win, I'm guessing, over a one-loss UNC, unless UNC screws it up over the next couple of weeks, Clemson would have a better resume than Michigan. Like, Clemson would have let's say you have a one-loss Michigan or one-loss Ohio State. Clemson would actually probably have a better resume. You could argue that the UNC win would maybe be over a higher-ranked team than Penn State's at a time. We would have to wait and see. But overall, you would probably have more quality wins there. And we do know that the committee loves conference champions. So, in this scenario, you obviously have Georgia getting in. You have the winner of the Big Ten getting in. And then it's maybe like a Tennessee, but then you arrive at either one-loss Clemson, one-loss TCU, or a one-loss Big Ten team.
Yeah.
And
well, the thing that Clemson needs, they need Notre Dame to beat USC.
Yeah.
So not only does that knock out the
That'd be
Pac-12,
huge.
it'd make their loss look better. And I think they need Florida State to continue to win. I mean, Florida State right now is on an absolute tear, 7-3. If Florida State wins the next 2 weeks, Louisiana then versus Florida, 9-3. A 9-3 Florida State's probably top 15. So not only now you have a top 15 win, you beat North Carolina, who'll probably be a top 10 win. So to me, I don't want to see it because I don't think they deserve it. I don't think they're a top 4 team. I think they'll get smashed. I think if you want to talk about what would the outcome be on the field, I think Tennessee or Michigan would beat them.
Whoa.
Ooh.
I think your mic just changed up there, Aaron. One thing that somebody says, one loss home. Where was it? Andy J says Clemson resume versus USC resume. Who you got? Look, the bottom line with USC, their resume is not nice right now, but if USC wins out, their resume will be nice. It'll be 3 big ranked wins in a row, which would propel them into the playoff. Like USC absolutely controls their own destiny to making the playoff right now. My biggest question we go so deep in these hypotheticals, Aaron, but my biggest question, the hypothetical we laid out, is who should get in? A one-loss TCU that wins the Big 12 or a one-loss Clemson that wins the ACC? Because I do think that TCU would have the better resume. Clemson would have the better brand. TCU's loss would have come later, which probably hurts it, whereas Clemson's would have come earlier. I think it's a wash in terms of like game control because we've seen Clemson in plenty of battles. Like, what do you think? If you had one-loss TCU Big 12 champ against one-loss Clemson ACC champ, who should make it?
Well, I do think does my mic sound terrible still?
No, it sounds great.
No, you're back.
You blew it out like you were a singer in a rock show.
Whoa! Well, first thing, I think if TCU loses, it's going to be to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game. So that would eliminate.
I know. Chill out. Let's just play with the hypothetical.
I'm going to play with the hypothetical
here.
I think Clemson gets in.
Damn.
I do. I think Clemson gets in. I think we talk about big brands all the time. I think Clemson gets in, especially with who they're going to beat down the stretch for them to be able to be in that position.
Aaron,
and their loss would be better. A Notre Dame loss would be better than a loss to Baylor, which is probably the loss that TCU would have.
Yeah, that's
way
a great
better
point.
loss.
Way better loss. Aaron,
and a more recent loss too.
Which hurts.
I think all that plays into it.
Aaron, who's the best team in the Pac-12?
Oregon.
Pathetic. Please. You don't even know if Bo Nix is healthy. Dan Lanning's out here playing coy. Oregon, he says, as they lose to Michael Penix. It's Le Petit Trojan boys. Aaron, have you updated your Lane to the Plains thoughts any? Do you think Lane Kiffin? Because more and more every day that passes, I feel like I'm starting to come around to this idea.
I think it's the only way. I do. I think literally that is the only thing that makes sense for both sides, for Auburn and for Lane Kiffin. Like it is literally you back up the Brinks trucks right now for Lane Kiffin. You say we have all this NIL. This is your contract. This is the support you're going to get. Go make us competitive versus Alabama. Go make us a competitor in the West. Like give him everything that he absolutely wants. Let's make this thing happen. But I know you're excited today, though, and I'll let you kind of hit this headline. The rumors swirling around Nebraska and that job opening with your boy Rhule.
Yes.
Possibly.
So this is a bit interesting. Of course, credit to us here on Snaps. We've been on Rhule in Nebraska since day one. But Mitch Sherman, who writes for The Athletic and has covered Nebraska for like 15 years, right? So one of those old school beat writers that knows a program inside and out, says, direct quote, "It is safe to consider Matt Rhule at or near the top of the Huskers list of targets." He goes on to confirm that Trev Alberts, the AD, and Matt Rhule have talked. And while now we are entering speculation, it is a fact that a private jet registered to an Omaha trucking company that gives a lot of money to the Nebraska program flew on Monday from Omaha to Charlotte back to Omaha. Okay. Correlation, it is what it, is that, take it for what it's worth. That now then again, trusted source and alleged domestic abuser Zach Smith said on his podcast that Nebraska was striking a deal with Deion Sanders, but this has pretty much gotten shut down. One thing that is interesting here, Aaron, is from what I've gathered, I haven't been able to. Okay, so I know this. Matt Rhule is owed $40 million by the Panthers. He will get that money no matter what. Whatever his job is, the Panthers will get as like a credit. So let's say you paid him $3 million a year. Well, that's $3 million a year that the Panthers don't have to pay him. But the one thing I can't quite figure out, and I think I have it, but again, maybe I'm wrong here. So just know that as I say this, I think Carolina has to pay him that money within 4 years, meaning he's going, or within a finite amount of time, meaning he's going to get X amount of money per year. Let's say they have to pay him within 4 years, so Carolina has to pay him $10 million a year. In theory, you could strike a deal with Rhule where you're not breaking the bank as much as you would because he is still guaranteed that money per year. So like if it is 10, maybe you could get him to agree to like a $5 million a year contract for the first 4 years, and then he's still going to get that other 5 from Carolina. And then
if I'm him, I'm taking nothing. I'm going to say, give me nothing. Like, take all the money that would have been given to me, and let's go get the best coordinators. Yeah, let's go get the best coordinators in America. Like, let's stack our team. That'd be so funny,
dude. That'd be
and then let's find, obviously, I don't know, I guess you can't do it legally. I was going to say find some way to use that money for NIL purposes. But like, yeah, why if you're Matt Rhule, would you take a dime from your university?
That's a really good point.
You take that money, you give it to assistants. I want to make a staff that is equivalent to what Florida staff is right now. I'm going to have an army of the best GAs in America, and we're going to turn this program around in the next 4 years, and you're not going to have to pay me a dime.
So Matt Rhule, Nebraska has some juice to it. We will see. I would love that. Big calling for that for our day one. Lane to the Plains, I guess I'm starting to come around to. I think the only couple reasons I think Lane could stay is that maybe job security is higher at Ole Miss. Again, I don't know if he cares about that. Perhaps he wants a different job than Auburn. I mean, look, Texas, A&M, Oklahoma, just to name a few. These are all jobs that feel like they could be opening up sooner rather than later. And what about this, Aaron? How about this? Am I naive? Is there a chance that Lane is just happy in Oxford? Like, is that crazy?
No,
like, I mean, and I get it. Like, the vibes around the program are fantastic. He's got a beautiful new dog. I think the word in the street is he has a great relationship. Everyone loves him. And I know that we're always thinking about the bigger, better deal, but like, what happened to being content? Now,
if he was content, he would have stayed. He would have stayed at FAU.
Well, no. There's different levels of contentedness. There's different levels of contentedness.
Stayed there, gotten paid.
Gotta go, boys.
Lane wants to be a winner. Lane wants to compete for championships. He said it in his post-game speech. I told you, man, what he did in that post-game speech was a huge indicator and a message to Auburn faithful and to the dudes that make the real decisions there at Auburn that I'm here to win championships. And he gone, baby. He's gone.
Hey, Aaron, I hope you enjoy your new deck. I really hope Papa Yellowwood gives you your new deck that you're so desperately fishing for. We got to go. Huge, massive thank you to everybody hanging out with us in the chat. We love y'all so much. It's so much fun doing this every day. Huge thank you to everyone listening wherever you listen to podcasts. Please, please, please rate it and review it and share it with your friends. It helps us a ton. If you're on YouTube, please hit the like button, share it. A huge thank you to FanDuel, the sportsbook app. Use the promo code SNAPS. A huge thank you to The Volume for having us on here. And a massive thank you to Ryan Brumley, Paul Farrington, Pat Gunner, our excellent production team. Thank you. Aaron Murray, we love y'all, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more Snaps.